Hello everyone, my name is Yifan Panfeng and this is my final CIS project. So my project will be over Shake Shack, which is a very famous and popular burger place. It went public a few years ago and I want to dive in to do an income statement analysis to see how it has performed financially since it went public. So I went to the investor relations website of Shake Shack and then download the 10Q and 10K and started my income statement analysis. So this is the income statement analysis for the Shake Shack for the period first quarter 2018, and I do a comparison of the period first quarter 2017. So on the revenue side, that we can see the revenue sources of Shake Shack mainly comes from two sources. One is shake sales, the other one is licensing revenue. And we can see over this two period, the revenue actually has going up significantly, with the sales going up by 30% and the licensing revenue going up for 17%. And on the expenses side, the expenses is break down into a few major categories. Some variable costs, including food and paper costs, labor-related expenses, occupancy-related expenses, and some more fixed costs, including the general and administrative expenses, depreciation expenses, and etc. And we get our total revenue minus total expenses will give us our operating income, and the operating income with some other income and interest expenses and the tax will give us the net income. So we can see our net income over the two period actually has going up for 30%, which is a very good financial sign for the company. And then let's analyze a few key ratios here. The first key ratio is gross profit. So gross profit is derived by 1 minus the food and paper costs over the total revenue. Profit margin is another very key ratio. Profit margin measures the profitability of the firm to see how it has managed its expenses. So we can see the profit margin for the first quarter 2017 was 7%. However, the number dropped to 6% in 2008. And now let's move to our solver tab to do a solver analysis. So as we just mentioned, the profit margin is one of the key ratio that measures the profitability of the firm. So we can see the profitability of the firm actually dropped in 2018, and we want to see a better profit margin result for the firm. So our target rate for the profit margin will be 8%. So in our solver analysis, we want to know, in order to achieve our profit margin to 8%, how much we should reduce in our general and administrative expenses, because that's the expenses that's easier to manage other than the variable cost. So in our solver, so we set our category of the target rate and set the target rate to equal to the value of 8%, and by changing the general and administrative expenses, which is actually easier to manage than other variable costs. So our constraints will be, all the expenses should be greater than 0. So then we click our solver, and it gives the target solver target general and administrative expenses. We can see our target general and administrative expenses, in order to achieve our target profit margin, should be somewhere around $10 million because the financial statement is in thousands. However, now we have almost $12 million. So we can see the company actually need to manage this category a little bit more in order to achieve the profit margin, the target profit margin. And I also wanna, I take the financial results for the firm for the last few years to give you guys an overall picture to see how the revenue and the profit and net income has changed over the years. So those data are also from the investor relations website, and I created a Power View in order to better visualize the data. So in our Power View data, I created a chart, graph, and a line graph. So in our chart graph, the very good thing that we can see here is, okay, so the Shake Shack, which is the blue box, has going up consistently and significantly, which is a very good sign for the firm. And also we can see the green category, the licensing revenue is also going up in a slow speed, not as much as the Shake sales, but it is growing. And along with the revenues, we can see that the general and administrative expenses and the Shake level operating expenses is going up as well, because the firm is actually growing. So overall, we can actually see a very good picture of the firm and see how it is actually growing and expanding, and we can see that in the future probably the target the sales will be even achieving to a better result. And the next graph showing us the trend of its net income and the operating income. So we can see the operating income from 2013 to 2017 is it dropped a little bit in 2014, and it's actually going up consistently throughout the period. It has the most jump from 2015 to 2016, and the growth pace kind of slowed down a little bit, which actually makes sense when the firm is achieving its mature stage. And the reason why the net income dropped from 2016 to 2017 while the operating income increases, one of the tax adjustments it has done to the financial statements. So actually the operating income is still increasing. And I also did a VBA, a small VBA in this project, showing you guys how we actually can use VBA to calculate the profit ratio. So the profit ratio is net income over the total revenues. So basically, let me delete this data. So I already actually recorded a macro here, as you can see the scripts on the right. And then now let's just quickly run this macro to see how it works. So let's go to developer, go to ratio, macro, which is the name of the macro, and click run. So it will give us the ratios. And that's all for my final presentation. And throughout the presentation, we can see for the Shake Shack, it is doing very well financially. We can see the firm is still growing and it is achieving to its mature stage, but it still has room to grow. And while it is growing, in order to achieve a better profit margin, it has to still paying attention to its operating expense. And overall, I think the firm has been doing a very good job and has gotten very well financially. So that's all for my final presentation. Thank you.